Charlie and Annette Ross. We are the sole owners of Virginia Water Gardens here in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Wanted to take a minute and just kind of let you in on who we are. Annette and I have been married for 34 years. I hope that's right. I was in the Marine Corps when we got married. After spending almost 5 years in the Marine Corps, we decided it was time for us to move on. I kind of pacified myself to being in the active reserve because I really didn't want to leave the Marine Corps, but at the same time it took me away from my family more than I wanted to be away from them. We had a lot of friends that landed in the Washington metropolitan area, so that's one of the reasons we landed in this area. And at that time I went to work for a defense contractor. Had interviewed with Fairfax County Police, was accepted to the academy, and decided at the last minute, you know what, this probably isn't for me. Fast forward, I decided that day, I think, and within the days to follow, that somehow, some way, I wanted to be my own boss, have our own business, be an entrepreneur where I could control our income. I was scared to death to do that. Went to work for a couple other contractors at the time, but eventually led to doing some side work, cutting firewood, mowing grass, doing some plantings, and then eventually starting our own landscape maintenance business.
Well, we ended up doing this business together because we just always liked to be together. And whatever Charlie was doing, I would try to be there and pitch in and help him cut firewood, just so we could be together. And so we decided, I was working for a company in Alexandria, and we decided at the time, why not just build a business together? So that's what we decided to do.
I'll never forget the first 60 or 90 days, and that's it. When I came home at 7 o'clock one night, Charlie quit. I was putting in 12 to 14 hours a day for someone else again, and she said, we've done it before, we can do it again. In other words, we can start our own business again. So eventually, it took me a couple years to listen to that, but 2 years later, that's exactly what we did. We started a company called CDR Landscape Company. We had been married for almost 18 years, and we had wanted to have children 5 years after we were married. That was our plan.
Our plan didn't work out so well, so 18 years into our marriage, we decided we would adopt a child, and now we have a beautiful young lady, Kate, and she's a part of our business as well now. But she's been alongside us in this business for her whole life. That's all she's ever known. Grew up with water features, and she still helps us now in the business today.
Why ponds? Why did we start building ponds? I think one of the biggest questions I get most often from people that we're building water features for, and people that come to visit, is after we had our landscape maintenance business, construction business for a while, we started getting offers from a company out in Chicago. It was a little card that offered a VHS tape of how to build a pond. Well, I didn't know what it was, but I remember seeing a free VHS. I thought, well, why not? After about the 3rd or 4th one, I sent off for it, got the videotape in the mail, watched that 8-track, that was an 8-track, but it was a VHS tape.
Yeah.
Watched that video I don't know how many times until she was tired of me watching it, and was talking with one of our customers, Julius and Cheryl George, and they said, we have a pond at our place in the mountains, and Cheryl would love to have one at our place here in Stafford. So, long story short, a milker, which is still our foreman today, him and I, my goodness, 18 years ago, hopped on an airplane, flew out to Indianapolis, Indiana. It was coming a monsoon the night before, and during the build that day, we had some classroom time, and then we built our first pond. So it was basically a hands-on seminar of how to build a pond. We came back that week and we started our first project, our first pond we ever built, which was an 11-foot wide by 16-foot pond. That was the size we built at the time. The kits came in that size with a 53-foot long stream, which we have since renovated a couple of times, but it's still there today.
I remember too, you went to Richmond, Virginia, and met Greg Woodstock. Greg's the owner of Aquascape, and he was doing a seminar in Richmond explaining how to get started in the pond business. And so Charlie went down and met Greg, and then came back and said, we're going to build a pond in our backyard. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so he took a blank slate in our backyard, a hill in Stafford, and turned it into a beautiful water feature that we have today. I look back and think that's when he got bit by the water gardening bug. He found something that he loved, and we realized once there was one in our backyard just how much it drew us back to nature. We enjoyed sitting around it, dangling our feet in the water, feeding the fish, and just talking to each other instead of watching TV. So I think that's kind of what got me excited about it. We actually found this place and started with a not so pretty location, as you can see in some of the pictures here, and turned it into what it is today. I often say we're the best kept secret in Fredericksburg. We really don't want to be a secret. So take a look at what we have now.
Passionate about it. We love what we do, and fortunately Net enjoys water features as well. And I think the majority of the people that work here at Virginia Water Gardens love what they do. They enjoy water features. They love seeing the smile on our customers' faces after we plugged up that waterfall for the first time, or that urn, or that water feature. When they see that water come up and start flowing for the first time, that to us is a paycheck, is when that person smiles, or they come over and hug us, or they thank us in a way that we didn't get thanked before when we were mowing grass, just to be blunt and honest. And so that's one of the reasons we enjoy what we do. And I mentioned this the other day, I was doing a post on a pond that we had just built, and this was just yesterday morning. We had built a pond. This was the fourth pond for this gentleman and his family. It's him and his wife. They're empty nesters. Long story short, we built a beautiful pond for them. They were the customer that said, this is what we want. We've seen your work. You and your crew are artists. Here's your palette. Go to work. And that's what we did. And within that week, we saw them maybe 3 times, maybe 4. Well, when Milker and I went to their house yesterday morning to have that final walkthrough with their pond, show them how to maintain it, show them what to do and what not to do, and answer any questions they had. It was really muddy around that area because we've had a lot of rain. There was 4 pieces of plywood where the mud was, with a bench sitting on top of the plywood. And the gentleman, Brian, told me, he said, Charlie, that's where we sat till late last night on that bench. And I'd already knew that, but he continued to tell me that they almost had to drag themselves away from the pond. And I thought, this is why we do what we do. Where would the conversation have taken place that they had last night if the pond wasn't there? Where would those conversations with their grandkids and their children take place now? Chances are they'll take place by the pond. So that's why we enjoy doing what we do. One of the aspects is that we can see where we can help change the way people live their lives in their backyard and at their home, for the simple reason, instead of sitting in front of the TV, they can go outside, sit by the pond, sit in that Adirondack chair, kick back with a cup of coffee or a glass of wine or your favorite drink, and actually talk to each other, actually build their relationship, actually talk about their day and what happened during their day. So
I think another reason we do what we do is we've experienced it in our family. We have better conversations by the pond, by the fire pit, outside, especially on a fall evening, than we do inside. And then it's getting a text at Christmas time when we're out of town from a client that we built a pond for, and he says, thank you for building our pond, giving us a place to sit together and talk about our day and just talk about our life. And because he loved it so much and his wife loved it so much, he had a painting done of his pond and it was hanging in their home. So that's cool. We love to hear stories like that.
if you're thinking about a water feature, absolutely, you're already at our website, or if you haven't been at our website, go to our website, check it out, look at the gallery, but better yet, come here to our place at Virginia Water Gardens in Fredericksburg, where you can see, hear, touch, feed the fish, and actually see what we do in person. There's nothing like here in the water, feeding the fish, and experiencing yourself in person.
So come by and see us. We'd love to meet you, and we'd love to build a little piece of paradise in your backyard. Have a great day.